welcome back to Vivid Earth. I hope you can hear me okay. Logistics are a little bit different today. I'm recording at our Earth cabin at our Mount Liu New Earth Sanctuary. Thought I'd record in here just to, you know, have some peace and quiet in the house since it's weekend and rest time. I hope you are well today. You're managing the waves of the solar activity in the Schumann resonance, all good. It's been a little bit off the charts again. Who's feeling the waves of fatigue followed by waves of extreme vitality? Not always when it's supposed to be. I'm like falling asleep in the middle of the day, and then in the middle of the night, I can't sleep. So this has been going on for me, but I hope you guys are well, surfing the waves. What's been happening, guys? Wanted to bring you a little bit of an update today and some interesting topics that I came across. Um, and today the title is "Why is it all taking so long?" So I want to just touch on that. Everyone is like exhausted, frustrated because this whole process of um, the flipping, so to speak, of the from dark to light is taking too long. The financial system flip is taking too long. Everything is taking too long. Disclosure is taking too long. Contact with our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters is taking too long. Well, why is it taking too long? Could we have something to do with that? It's all about divine timing. There's no fixed dates for anything in place, and it really depends on us. Are we ready? Is humanity ready for a new system? Is humanity ready for abundance and the redistribution of wealth? Well, I'm not sure. We are, to be honest, as a collective. And, the thing is, we really need to be ready for this. And in my mind, to be ready for the redistribution of wealth, the shifting of powers fully into our hands, we need to be more in unity consciousness, to be honest. I see still a lot of division out there, a lot of hatred, a lot of resentment, a lot of finger pointing. And yes, of course, there is lots of things to be and feel divided about. But is this really the answer? You know, we have to be in higher consciousness if we want to walk into a new world. If we want to walk into a world where there's peace, harmony, abundance for all, right? Do you think that division is just going to go away? No, we have to evolve that division. Even within our spiritual and truth communities, we have to evolve as well, which means, really taking that leap through the portal of the heart, because that's really what it is. Because the only way into 5D is through the heart. There's no shortcuts. There are literally no shortcuts, guys. And, you know, we just got to stop all the hatred and the division. That's really what it's all about. Then we will mature as a society and as a civilization and graduate into 5D. And then we'll be able to handle all the goodness that is coming to us. That is just something that came to me yesterday, because there's too many people still fighting, division, pointing fingers left to right, right to left. It doesn't stop. Where's this going to end? So you have to imagine yourself in a world where there is more unity, when there's more togetherness, when we can forgive others. We've all played good and bad roles in this lifetime and other lifetimes. We've all had the experience through our higher consciousness, through this human avatar, through various human avatars, of what it means to be the good guy, the bad guy, the evil guy, the victor, the victim. We have played all these roles so many times that this is the lifetime where we have to like transmute everything and move beyond it. There are so many people that we are currently pointing fingers at that are the way they are because they have suffered severe trauma. They have they were born into families where trauma and abuse and things were the order of the day. So can we in the depths of our heart, find some compassion for that person, even if we feel maybe they can't be saved because they're just too far gone. They need to go back to source. But can we find that ounce of compassion in our heart that's going to open the portal into 5D to say, yes, humanity has been traumatized. Some people have fallen really, really hard into density, into division, into polarity. But can we just have compassion for them and move along? Do what is necessary without the use of revenge and, more violence, more finger pointing. That's not going to solve the problem. I've spoken before a couple of months ago about different, uh, cultures having had, targeted one another for things like slavery, divide and conquer, colonizing nations. And it's happened vice versa with others as well. Most recently we had, the movement of Black people in America, standing up for the idea of no more slavery. But what if they enslave people that enslaving them now? So you see how we reverse roles. I mean, the Spanish Inquisition was a famous one. That they were so cruel to a lot of these island nations that they overtook. Um, but they themselves were targeted, killed, enslaved. So you see how the victor becomes the victim and the victim becomes the victor, and that cycle literally will never stop until we end it. The cycle does not stop until we end it. And we have to end the cycle in order to move into the new. I know some of you don't like to hear it, but there is no other way. So, in order to be entrusted with that amount of wealth, can you imagine what we have to go through in terms of evolving our consciousness? Because a lot of this needs to be used for humanitarian projects. We have to rebuild the earth. It's not for us to buy private jets and to go on holidays and, build mansions. Of course, you can enjoy some of that wealth, but primarily it is necessary for the rebuilding of earth. All these humanitarian projects that are going to uplift people that are really, really needing it, that need to be educated, that need to be healed, that need to be fed nutritious food, that need to be, have shelter in place, proper houses, homes. They need to feel safe first. How are they going to evolve their consciousness if they don't even feel safe? Because they'll never get out of the first chakra if that is the case. So yeah, I know that it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but I firmly believe once we move out of division fully as the leaders of this new earth, we will have everything that we desire in this new earth. It will naturally unfold. So, the polarity needs to be transmuted. The cycle needs to end, and we are going to have to be the ones to end the cycle, not the ones we believe is on the bad side. So who's going to end it? Them? We have to end it, not them. So I saw the similarity yesterday between polarity and politics and how it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Politics is all about polarity, the one side against the other. We need to overcome that now. It's not about red versus blue. It's not about right versus wrong. It's not about revenge. Yes, of course, people need to be held responsible for what they've done. But we have to do it in a very calm, neutral way. We've got to reach that stage of equanimity, which is going to qualify us as being mature enough to move to the next stage. So if you're wondering what is slowing down the White Hat's military operation, could that be it? Yeah, because the stewards of the new earth need to be mature, spiritually mature. They need to be compassionate. They need to move beyond the idea of revenge and this fanatical sense of justice. Of course, justice must be had, and it will be had because karma is something that we all subjected to. So let it be. Let things unfold the way they are naturally supposed to unfold without forcing it, without having to insist on uh, more people having to suffer, really. Um, there's no other way in 5D. Literally, you can try as hard as you want. You can think you're in 5D, but unless your heart is open, you're not in 5D. So there's just literally no other way. There's no shortcuts. There's no loopholes. There's no, you know, way of cheating your way through into 5D. There literally is not. And, I just want to also just quickly take the time to say I'm I'm thrilled with all the new subscribers. It seems that I just don't know. I just got it like a couple of thousand of new subscribers um, in the span of a week, which was kind of really odd to me. And it dawned on me that a couple of weeks ago, it was said that YouTube is now going to unban channels that were previously banned, uh, you know, stop their algorithms, punishing people who have previously spoken the truth, that perhaps have some strikes on my channels. Like I have still 2 strikes on my channel, and I had 2 channels deleted. So is it maybe a case of finally not being shadow banned anymore? Because actually, when I looked at the analytics on my channel, most of the people viewing my videos and liking my videos are people who are subscribers. And they come predominantly via Telegram and other platforms shared, and other people shared. But in terms of new subscribers discovering me, that was virtually impossible in the past, which now it seems my channel is actually being shown to new people. So the shadow banning could possibly finally be at an end after I've lost 2 channels already due to censorship, talking uncomfortable truths. So I'm very grateful for all of you, and I'm so grateful for all the beautiful comments. I really, really appreciate them. I don't have always have the time to reply, unfortunately, because that'll just keep me on screen for like hours and hours if I have to do that. But I really appreciate, I try and read all of them and I appreciate all of them. If there's like a critical comment, I will try and reply to that. And there's one that came up, well, there's 2 that came up actually. Actually 3. It's like 3 negative ones from all the videos I did in the last 2 weeks, I would say. Um, the strangest of them all that I just cannot even fathom was a few days ago, somebody saying, you just popped out of nowhere onto the screen. Where did you come from? Who are you? And by the way, you look a lot like Erica Kirk, who had something to do with her husband's death. I'm like, what? What? Firstly, I didn't come from nowhere. I was a successful entrepreneur who had a major spiritual awakening in 2020 and wanted to be part of a movement of change on this planet, to be part of the awakening of the planet. And I've felt a mission unfolding, which I finally took the call up in 2022. So I've only been 3 weeks, 3 years on YouTube, and my laptop is about to die. So I might have to just pause this. Give me 1 second. Hey, sorry, I did get interrupted. My laptop died, but I'm back. So I know I said some unpopular things. Some of you may not like it, but it's something to ponder about because we need to continue to do the inner work in order for the outer world to change. All of that said, I do believe new beginnings is around the corner very soon. Nevertheless, some of us have done the work. Now, very interestingly, Monday is I believe, a public holiday, or as we call it in South Africa, public holiday, but in the US. And it's a new one called Columbus Day because it's the day that Columbus found the Americas, supposedly. There's also been a very interesting dead clock message that has been updated, and it sure is very, very interesting. A lot of comms around that. So, Columbus Day is associated with the New World, right? So, could this be symbolically the New World unfolding in the US on Monday? Now, a lot of things happen over what we would say like a long weekend. There's a lot of things that can happen in terms of the financial system, what's happening behind the scenes, because there's a bank holiday. And so, really, if they wanted to change over kind of the rails of the system, that'd be a good opportunity to do that. It's also, as I reported last week in a video, the Feast of Tabernacles and the eighth day, which is also associated with a new beginning. And even in biblical terms, it has been said that it's, when the new heaven and the new earth unfolds. Um, so some really, really interesting things to ponder. There's a lady that did a very good decode on, I don't know where it was, TikTok, but it was shared on Telegram. I'm not going to go through all of it, but many prophetic teachers have seen that, 7 days could symbolize the current world history, the eighth day being the new world, the day the new heaven and new earth, the transition point where the temporary passes away and the eternal kingdom of God begins. So those are in biblical terms, and we don't just follow biblical terms, but we do watch them. So in terms of the long weekend, like I said, it could be possibly a phase 4 scenario where the long weekend window is a planned pause in normal market activity used to sometimes recollateralize repo and settlement systems, stabilize foreign exchange funding, for example, via swap lines, migrate payment and clearing rails to new settlement logic, for example, asset-backed digital currency or collateral schedule. It also could be a good opportunity to announce a new monetary structure without triggering immediate panic in active markets because the markets will be closed. So things like this often happen over a weekend. And so this certainly have a lot of coincidences that needs to be looked at. There's a lot of symbology around these dates, the 7 days, the 8th day. As I said, it is pretty interesting. So a US government shutdown could easily overlap with a long weekend window in a phase 4 scenario. It provides political and operational cover, gives regulators extra breathing room, and creates the perfect moment to restructure the monetary plumbing behind the scenes without open market chaos. There was also something on the deadlock recently placed about Nostradamus, or maybe that was a while ago. So Nostradamus obviously predicted the future many, many different times. He spoke about a lot of things, but also something called Portrain 888. The nation will heal when all will kneel, the kingdom restored with new money as a reward. Now, I think there will be definitely. Will there be a market crash on Tuesday? Some people said there will. Monday the 13th have been said many times to be a potential date. I'm not putting dates out there. I'm just saying it could very well be. So watch what happens, guys. It's going to get very interesting. There's a lot of other indicators that could indicate that the week to come is going to be a big one. We're basically just waiting for this. I mean, people in the financial know are saying the market crash is imminent. Add to that, Warren Buffett just sold something like 1.5 billion of his own stocks. He also sold the bulk of his Apple stock. Robert Kiyosaki has sold most of his stocks. There's a lot of big whales that are selling a lot of stocks. There was also a crypto crash yesterday on the 1010 where 1.4 trillion was wiped out. And I'm going to talk more about that a little later. But it sure looks like something is brewing, guys. It's not really, you can't really deny that at this point. A lot of people are saying that the revaluation is like literally imminent. It could happen any minute. And I'm not one to sit and wait and, I carry on with life. I, do the things that I have control over. I live my life. I don't live in expectation. I know it will happen all in divine timing, and I surrender to that timing. And I hope you do too, because there's no point in trying to control everything. If it doesn't happen, then what then? As I said a long time ago, I have let go of those expectations, and I'm living in so much peace right now because I know everything will come in divine timing. The world is changing in front of our eyes, but you have to Take responsibility for your life now until that happens. Do what you can, what is within your power to change your life and your circumstances around you. Because literally, it's a mindset. We create our own reality. I'm going to talk about that a bit more as well. I know I talk about that a lot, but I think it's worth unpacking a little bit more. A lot of people struggle with that concept. Just realized my mic is not close. So the sound was probably terrible, but I'm going to carry on nevertheless. And I hope you can hear everything. I'm set up like a little temporary studio here in our earth cabin. So it's not my usual setup. And so I hope the sound was okay. You got all of what I said there. I really hope so. Anyway, let's touch on a few more things Intel wise. See what I saved here for you. Um, Vietnam is said to have revalued already in country. Well, what do you know? The next minute, there is a record flooding in Vietnam and people's cars are floating down the streets. So I don't know what's going on there, but there was a post that I shared. The day that the Federal Reserve blames a financial crisis on weather patterns is the day you know the global monetary system is exhausted. And indeed it is, because the Federal Reserve just said, the top ranking official was saying, overseeing climate risk, said, the US economy faces a series of long term structural shocks due to extreme weather patterns. Really? You're going to blame it on weather patterns? Seriously? Hello. There's a lot more to it than weather patterns for sure. And you guys are the ones that have been manipulating the weather patterns. So there's that. Um, Then, in other news, also financial, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said right-wing Argentina President Javier Milei is a beacon of Latin America, and that's why the US is supporting him. Milei is coming to the Oval Office on Tuesday. There's Tuesday again. He's committed to getting China out of Argentina. They're all over the place, he says, in Latin America. That's the CCP, by the way, not China. We need to start differentiating. There's no country that's just all bad or all good. There are factions within each country. So let's be specific. Let's name the nameless, shall we? The Communist Party, which is controlled by the Khazarian mafia, are to blame for that. So the US will be buying up some Argentinian pesos, and people are saying, well, how is that America first? And they see it as a bailout, and America can't afford it. Well, there's no money being transferred. The ESF has never lost money. It's not going to lose money. Scott Besson said, I was in the investment business, mostly currencies, for 40 years. You're supposed to buy low, sell high, and the Argentine peso is undervalued. Is that going to be part of the revaluation strategy to revalue the peso, Argentinian peso? Sounds a lot like it's something along those lines. Now, obviously, we've seen our peace in the Middle East. I think I haven't seen pictures yet, but Trump was arriving in Egypt to sign the peace deal officially, although it's already been signed. That's the official public signing. So it seems to be done, guys, and let's hope and pray there's no other bombs flying around that's going to jeopardize that. But we know that peace is necessary for this new rollout of Nasara Dasara, the new world, the currency revaluation. All of that has to happen. Peace really has to happen before all of that can happen. And then also Dmitriev of US, I mean of Russia, was reporting on that Trump was saying, I think Russia-Ukraine peace will happen too, and that might be close too. So we hope that is the case, guys. In the meantime, trafficking rings are being rounded up all around the world, especially in the US, everywhere from Uganda to Bulgaria and everything in between. So they are rounding up the traffickers, the mafia. There's a big mafia ring, Italian mafia ring, also being um, captured, and things are happening. And in terms of South African news, another thing that's happening on Monday, the 13th. Monday's the 13th, right? Is time getting wonky again? I don't know. But there was a video that was put out that there's going to be a national shutdown on Monday. The South Africans are called to pull in Nepal on the government here, just like what happened in Nepal. Was it 2 weeks ago? I lose track. So they are saying if Nepal can do it, we as South Africans can do it as well. We're gonna upend the US, I mean the government here in South Africa that is totally corrupt, and we can govern ourselves. We're going to take control. The kingdoms are going to step forward, the indigenous kingdoms, and take control of this country. So it's happening in South Africa as well. And I want to just mention, like I reported in my last video, probably a week ago, that Trump has officially taken control of not only the organic US Republic, but also the Commonwealth countries. And that was part of his visit to the UK, to symbolically, publicly show that he's taking over the Commonwealth countries on a temporary basis, obviously, basically returning the hostages to their own sovereignty, right? This is what he's doing. So temporarily, he might be overseeing that, but essentially, these countries are being freed from the monarchy, the British monarchy, who is just a, basically a puppet for the Khazarian mafia and all of that, what they stand for, and in turn, their reptilian masters who have controlled this planet for eons through all of these artificial parasitic structures which are going down as we speak. So all of those parasitic structures are coming down. Things are changing rapidly. You will see them changing on the public stage when the time is right to show the public what's going on. And it will hopefully happen very smoothly. No civil war anywhere. That's the whole idea. Um, so all of that is going on. In the meantime, they're still just going back to the financial markets. Gold broke for the first time $4,000 per ounce, which is like phenomenal, and I believe it's not even started yet. Silver inches into $50 an ounce. 107 Trump picks are confirmed. That's that 107 number, which boils down to 17, curiously. um, and Trump is using tariff funds to fund the Women and Children's Food Program, and also to pay military. The military is rolled into Chicago, ready to roll into Portland, or have already. There's so much going on. Trump is hinting at enacting the Insurrection Act. Will that maybe also happen there on Tuesday? I don't know. Could well be. Or on Monday. um, so far, 620,000 federal employees have been furloughed. The IRS is laying off staff, yet appointed a CEO. Note that a government agency is not supposed to have CEOs, maybe because it's a foreign corporation acting as a government agency. It's not even a South Africa US corporation. It's completely foreign to the US. Comey was indicted. I mean, there's so much going on. Literally, it's dizzying. So on the Intel front, it's huge, guys. And at the same time, as I said, it's always paired up nicely. We saw these very dense plasma waves coming in onto Earth of massive, like 192, 194 protons per cubic centimeter. That's extremely high. And for 6 days in a row. So Earth is being pummeled and prepared for what's to come with all this high frequency plasma hitting the planet. And their consciousness is affected. If you think it's not affecting people's consciousness, you are not looking close enough. All of these things are syncing up to lead to massive Earth changes to come. And you can see it on the charts. There's no denial about this. They don't even know where it's coming from. Solar flares, magnetic field activity, Schumann resonant bursts, solar storms, it's all coming through. It creates heavy ascension fatigue. I don't know about you, but yesterday and the day before, I was just like so exhausted. I felt like I didn't have a wink of sleep, even though I had a full night's sleep for a change. Nights before, when I had very little sleep, I was completely revitalized the next morning. The last 2 days when I had good sleep, I was wiped out. Like literally wiped out yesterday. I couldn't get to bed early enough. When I eventually got to bed, finally, I was like, okay, now I'm awake, I'm alert. And I couldn't fall asleep until like 3 a.m. So things are a little bit strange right now. Feeling a little bit better today, but headaches and brain fog is also there. So it's not just me. A lot of people are going through that. If you are going through it, know that it'll pass, but it's all upgrading the body. Um, and then we've got our two comets. Well, I don't know. Atlas, you can't really call it a comet, but you've got those two going on as well, affecting flares coming off the sun. So it is a lot. We had the 1010 gateway yesterday, a gateway of endings and beginnings. Well, wow. It's just, no matter where you look, if you look at numerology, astrology, solar activity, biblical references, prophecies, they're all lining up together with the same information, just a slightly different language. So 1010 is really one of those crystalline gateways where numbers, astrology, and the collective pulse weave together to create that force of endings and new beginnings. 10 represents completion and new beginnings, like I reported on. So here we are, guys. We through the 1010 portal, and yeah, things are really, really popping off. Even if Alexander Quinn was saying that we are in the middle of an enormous energy wave that the science isn't fully able to validate. The body may feel very strange, or old wounds may resurface. Remember to breathe and court the energy down, out, and away through the body back into Gaia. And that this would be a very intense 48 hours, meaning this whole weekend. um, so yeah, just ground that energy down. I know I felt like my brain wasn't coping. I felt overwhelmed. And I just had to like let go and say, you know what? And it was one of those days where I had to do a lot of admin, which I absolutely hate, a lot of documents that needed to be filed, that needed to be checked for detail. There was no, room for error. There was no margin for error on this. So it wasn't the best day to be taking care of all of those things, but hey, I got through it. Um, and then, in other news, Trump was not given the Nobel Peace Prize, even though everyone thought he was getting it. It was awarded to Maria Corina Machado, a former Venezuelan deputy. And she actually apparently phoned Trump up and said, you know what, you should have gotten this, not me. And I dedicate this Nobel Peace Prize to you. Of course, the woke Nobel Peace Prize people will not give Trump the prize, but I guess that said a lot in terms of what she said right there. Um, what else is happening, guys? Oh, what else can I talk about? There's a lot going on in the background. So much going on in the background. It's not even funny. It's really too much to talk about here. But what I will touch on today is I wanted to talk. I spoke about those, 3 negative comments on my channel on 3 different videos that were kind of, okay, really? I do this for humanity, in service of humanity, and all you can do is criticize and some crazy remark over being related to Erica Kirk. Seriously, are we the only blonde people on earth? The mind boggles. Anyway, um, the other one was I mentioned quantum in a previous video, and somebody was saying, "Oh no, that's a very negative thing. It's all about, science. It's got nothing to do with spirituality." And I wanted to unpack that a little bit more because, in my mind, these are semantics. They're not separate concepts. When you talk about the all that is, it is the quantum field. They're both the same thing. They're just different languages used by different um, sides. Like science uses quantum. Metaphysics will use all that is, but they are really all the same. On a deeper level, it's really the threshold between the invisible and the visible, the point where potential becomes manifestation, the dance between energy and matter, wave and particle, and possibility and actuality. To live quantumly is to recognize that you're not separate from the field, you are a conscious participant in creation itself, which is why your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your programs that you're still holding on to is affecting the field, and why it's so important to do the inner work in the first place. Because we do carry a lot of programs, even though we think we got over all of them. There's always programs to let go of. It's a layering process, like an onion. There's always layers to uncover. So, as long as we're still in this construct, we haven't ascended yet. We're not ascended masters. There's still more layers of the onion to unfold. And I was quite curious. I learned about Eugene Wigner's theory. He was in the 60s, in this 1962. Um, and he was actually won a Nobel Peace Prize or Nobel Prize. He was a Hungarian physicist that proposed something so radical at the time. He said that consciousness was necessary for reality to exist. It was literally mocked by scientists for 50 years. Okay. His idea grew out of quantum mechanics. At the smaller scale, particles behave like waves of probability. They exist in many possible states at once. Think parallel timelines, parallel lives. Yeah. But the moment an observer looks, i.e., you, and that moment when you look is when the wave collapses into a single outcome, a definite particle in a definite place. So he did a thought experiment called Wigner's Friend, which pushed this concept further. Two observers can witness different outcomes depending on their perspective, meaning multiple realities can coexist until they're observed. And one reality might be true for one person and another might be true for another person. It really depends on what you choose as your reality. Like I said many times, and many people struggle with this. They still think their circumstances, everything that happens around them, they don't play a role in that. That's got nothing to do with them, that it happens to them and not through them. Well, this proves that it happens through you, not to you. So the way that you observe, your perspective, the lens that you look at things through, will make a situation, will make that wave collapse into a particle and create your reality. So that's it. You do affect your own reality. You are not a complete victim of your own reality. People are frantic now again about the digital IDs rolling out in the UK and this and that. You know what? It's what you make of it in your reality. In your reality, is that going to be a nefarious thing? Or maybe in your reality, it's going to become some sort of building blocks of the whole quantum technology that will monitor things here on Earth, that will capture the bad guys. Again, it's a technology that can be used for good or bad. So you decide. You decide what your future looks like by what you decide in the now. How you collapse that wave into a particle is completely up to you. So we have to learn to train our mind and our thoughts so that we see good outcomes and not constantly doubt, not constantly expect the worst outcome, not constantly looking out for the next, enemy behind the bush, so to speak. Rather focus on the positive, how you want your world to unfold. Because if you don't, the future will just unfold through your unconscious thoughts, not through your conscious creation. So observation really collapses possibilities in reality, and that's what Wigner found. Consciousness shapes the universe. Reality may not exist at all without minds to observe it. I know that is a difficult concept for some, but ponder over that. Spend a couple of days thinking about that, and it'll start making sense to you. At the time, many dismissed this as a philosophy. It's not a philosophy, it's actually a science. Today, with advances in quantum physics and simulation theory, these insights are being taken much more seriously, but people are still not quite getting, this concept. The universe doesn't solidify into reality until it's seen, measured, or experienced by consciousness. So what is it that you want to experience? On a spiritual on the spiritual side, in the metaphysical sense, quantum represents the infinite field of pure potential. What mystics have long called source, the void, the unified field, or God consciousness. So many different names. You pick one that resonates with you, but it's basically all the same. So, in spiritual language, quantum really is the bridge between thought and form, soul and matter, heaven and earth. When you align with a quantum, you begin to collapse timelines consciously through intention and frequency. Nothing can happen to you that is not a frequency match to where you are already. So if you think digital ID, we're going to be locked down, you know, you're on that frequency. So you're going to get a frequency match. You're going to get exactly what you are vibrating at. So become more conscious of what you are allowing to affect you, where your thoughts are being led to. Everything is connected through resonance. That's how our world functions. So quantum just means the sacred moment when possibility becomes creation. It's the whisper of the cosmos in a way, saying you are not observing reality, you are weaving it. You are weaving reality in every moment of every day. And, however you want to view the events that are currently unfolding is how it's going to unfold for you in your reality, in your timeline, in your future. We are getting so many DNA upgrades at the moment that are supporting this new level of consciousness. Allow it, embrace it, welcome it in. Just the ascension symptoms are part of that. Just let it go. We're going to see a lot of gifts coming in, latent gifts and abilities that are going to come online. But you must invite it into your life. You must allow it. You must resonate with it. I spoke to Amelia the other day about the Atlas chakra and how that is busy transforming our reptilian brain so that we get into that, out of that flight, that fear mindset, which is what to a large extent is determining this fatalistic point of view, the doubts, the fear. It's deep-rooted fear. And you don't want to build your reality from that place. You really don't. So, there's a lot of things happening at the moment, and we've got to just embrace it all because a new world is unfolding. And what is this new world for you? How do you visualize this new world? How do you want it to be? Because that's part of collapsing your wave into a particle. It's your responsibility to collapse that wave into a particle. What particle do you want it to collapse into? What do you want that to look like? It's completely up to you. Completely your choice. And, all these solar codes, they are upgrading us. They are providing us with interstellar wisdom, information, knowledge. Are you open to that, or are you just going to be doubtful and in fear and complain? And the biggest way, the best way for you to invite all of this in is to live in gratitude and expect good things to unfold on this earth, and to recognize that a new earth is being born, is being birthed at the moment. On the 16th, it's a powerful date for us to absorb solar codes. So get some sun in the next couple of days. It's going to be very, very important. The sun is not just the sun is a portal, and there are light codes coming through that portal from the central sun, from the galactic center. Okay, all of these ancient codes are coming in, leading to remembrance. Now, I might have this remembrance moment and you might doubt it and not have it. So, you need to choose. Are you going to say, oh, that's all mumbo jumbo? I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to be, fooled again. Well, what do you think your wave is going to collapse into? What kind of particle is it going to collapse into? The choice is yours. completely yours. I know what I want to manifest. I know what I'm busy co-creating on this planet for me and the ones that resonate with this frequency. Well, you decide. It's up to you. It's a free will planet. We all have to figure it out for ourselves. If you're just a person just wanting physical proof all the time, you're going to miss what's coming, because what's coming cannot always be interpreted through the logical brain, through the left brain. It can sometimes only be interpreted through your heart, through your gut, where there's also, your heart actually has a bigger brain than the brain in your head. That is why it's so important to live through the heart, because you start receiving information through your heart portal, through the central sun, through the galactic center, that is beyond this world, that is not of this world, that is not, is much, goes much higher than what the left brain and logic can decipher for you. But it's completely your decision, and you choose. And those that choose this beautiful new earth with me, I look forward to this journey with you, walking this journey with you, restoring earth to its former glory, discovering all these incredible mystical things that are going to be unfolding on the planet that we call mystical things. It is actually just part of our, intended reality. We're going to get those things back. We're going to go back into 5D, and we're going to see things in a very, very different way than what we are seeing it now. And we're even going to move beyond 5D, 6, 7D. The world is our oyster. So let's go create peace, abundance, love, harmony on this planet, education, higher thinking for everyone on the planet, and restore this beautiful planet to its former 5D glory. So with that, oh yeah, so that's all I have for you today. If you like this content, please share. Please make sure you subscribe so we can share the love, the wisdom, the information to those that are needing it. And also don't forget to join our Telegram community. The link is in the show notes below. And that's where we share daily updates. So if you want to stay in touch on a day-to-day basis as things unfold around the world, that's the place to be, the Vivid Earth Telegram channel. And there's also a link to our 5D community if you want to join us every second Sunday in an intimate setting. If you want to grow spiritually, learn how to train your mind, be activated, and connect with like-minded souls from around the world, that's the place to be. What else? I think that's it. If you want to explore this incredible crystal technology that's going to help your health level up and make this vessel a perfectly aligned, balanced, healthy vessel to receive all this high information, check out the LifeWave links below. I love this product. It's all natural and it's next level technology. With all of that, I send you guys so much love, and I'll see you very soon.